Quiver is mainly used for rarity. Let's say. I don't know. That was pretty cool. Oh my god, dude. But you shoot Yo, what the fuck? That's gonna be crazy. I have to go from T1s to T4 to 2s to... You know what I mean? Yo guys, what is up? Moxsy here with another Path of Exile 2 video, and today I wanted to talk about Ice Shot, showcase my Ice Shot Deadeye build that I've been putting together, and why I think this skill is being massively slept on. Now, right before the patch went live for this season, GGG massively buffed Ice Shot, and Ice Shot is a skill, probably my most played skill in Path of Exile 2. I made a ton of Ice Shot build guides back in 0.1. I didn't really get to play at all in 0.3. And so I wanted to try out the new Ice Shot buffs. I wanted to try out Ice-tipped arrows. And I really wanted to try the new ascendancy node for the Mirage Deadeye. And putting them all together, you can do some really, really crazy things with Ice Shot. At the time of recording this video, our slash played on this character is 12 hours and 6 minutes. So we basically just made this character, blasted them through the campaign, and we're already doing T15 maps. In this video, I wanted to break down kind of everything you need to know about the archetype, why I think it's really cool, and just what you need to know to get the build going. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let's do this. So the first thing to mention are Ice Shot buffs. Now these kind of snuck into the patch notes at the very, like right before the actual like season started. And Ice Shot now converts 80% of your physical damage to cold, previously 10%. So just dealing more cold damage, but also will scale more of your damage. This is just a generic damage buff. The cone angle increased by approximately 50%. This was a big downside that Ice Shot had over Lightning Arrow. Lightning Arrow is much better at chaining kind of sideways, versus Ice Shot was kind of shooting out at a pack behind. So if you had enemies to the side, it was much harder to kill them with Ice Shot. This is a massive quality of life for the build, as you're going to be hitting in a wider area, so you can just have more clear speed. Ice Shot now also has 25% more freeze buildup, and they buffed its attack damage on the top end to 344 from 296. That's approximately a like 16% more damage on top of the already like 10% that they gave it, and the cone angle. It also gets more magnitude of chill inflicted. Not that much. It used to be more attack damage, so that is technically a downside. But they also buffed the shards. It previously fired out a max of 8 shards at enemies, and now it fires 11 shards. The shards do a bunch of damage, and these also now help with the clear speed. And the shards now do 344% of your attack damage, which it used to be 234, which is a 40% damage increase for Ice Shot. So it got more conversion, more quality of life, more attack damage, more shards, and those shards are dealing 40% more damage. So Ice Shot got buffed massively, but they also buffed some other things. Ice-tipped arrows, which is kind of a cooldown ability that you can use. They reduced the cooldown. It now fires 5 ice fragments from 3. It now deals 187 of attack damage, previously 133. Now has a 20-second duration, which was previously 8. And the explosion radius got increased, and it also gives you 100% of your fizz damage converted to cold damage. So together, using Ice Shot and Ice-tipped arrows, we're netting out a pretty decent buff. The other big change that I was interested in Deadeye was they added a new Mirage Deadeye ascendancy passive skill, which grants the Mirage Deadeye meta skill. And this is whenever it's kind of like a cast on crit, but for projectile bow skills. Whenever you fire a ranged attack projectile, you create a mirage that uses your socketed ranged attacks for a short duration, then vanishes. You cannot create another mirage for a short time after initially creating one. The goal for this build was to basically have this Mirage Deadeye archer up 100% of the time, constantly firing our arrows, while also combining with our Ice Shots to just kind of spray the screen in like hundreds of projectiles And as you'll see from the gameplay, even though we've just kind of started this character, we're already getting to that point. The next thing that's really interesting that's going on with this build, and some stuff that I wanted to take advantage of, is the Quiver Kadiro's Gambit. Now, I believe this was added in 0.3. I'm not totally sure. I didn't really get to play 0.3, but this quiver is awesome. It allows us to get crescendo arrows, which chain 6 additional times and deal 60% increased damage for each time they've chained. Splinter arrows for your arrows to splinter towards 6 targets. Reversing arrows so that all your arrows pierce and return to you. Diamond arrows, which gives you guaranteed crits with 60% increased damage. Covetous, which gives you 600% increased rarity, and Blunt, which gives you a bunch of extra stun buildup. Every time we're firing, we're going to get one of these different arrows. We're firing a bunch of arrows. We're getting all of these buffs kind of constantly, and that's going to allow us to our arrows to do a bunch more damage, but also just cover the entire screen. Now, what's really cool is that our Mirage Deadeye uses our gear. They fire as if they were us. They do 50% less damage, but they're basically wearing all of our gear and benefiting from all of our things. So our Deadeye will be getting, or our Mirage will be getting all of these Quiver bonuses to fire out and do a ton of damage. However, this Mirage Deadeye, by default, is on a 10-second cooldown, which isn't great, right? We want this to be up a whole bunch of the time. That's something that I'm going to be working towards on this build. But one of the cool things that we can do is use Mana Remnants. Now, I plan to use mana as a way to up our damage, our survivability, and a whole bunch of other things. But with Mana Remnants, whenever we are critting an enemy with an elemental ailment, which we're going to be like instantly freezing and chilling on this build, we're going to be getting a ton of mana back, which solves a lot of mana issues. But we can also get Katal's Rejuvenation for 40% increased cooldown whenever we're picking up these remnants. That's going to increase our cooldown of our Mirage Deadeye, but it'll also increase the cooldown of one of our other buffs, which is Ice-Tipped Arrows. We just went over that these got buffed. Ice-Tipped Arrows allow us to basically buff up and cause more AoE damage with the shards that we're going to be getting out, and Ice-Tipped Arrows is going to be up very, very often without the proc of the Katal's Rejuvenation for 40% increased cooldown. Ours is up every 5.66 seconds right now, and I don't even have a... Oh, I do have a cooldown support. We've got Edziri's Impatience in here, which whenever we click this, we're going to lose some life, mana, and energy shield. Shouldn't be an issue. We've got lots of ways to recover, but this gives us a 100% increased cooldown, and then we've got Ice-Tipped Arrows causing blind, short fuse, and exploding in a big area to increase our single target damage, increase our AoE, and then the last thing to mention that really ties all of this together to actually increase our single target is Tornado Shot. Tornado Shot is one of the most important ways to scale Ice Shot damage, because you can't do the same kind of lightning rod, lightning arrow tech that you can with like lightning skills. So Ice Shot by default is much worse single target, which is why Tornado Shot is so important. Tornado Shot is going to allow us to copy all of the arrows and from our Kadiro's Gambit. Our Mirage Archer can benefit from the Tornado Shot, and our Ice-Tipped Arrows can all benefit from the Tornado Shot. So all of these multiplying arrows that we're shooting is just going to get multiplied, like, what is it, like 5 or 6 times from Tornado Shot, which creates these tornadoes that allow us to create projectile copies. We currently are copying 3 of the projectiles per tornado, and that's going to allow us to just massively increase our single target damage and our AoE clear, as we're going to be getting all those projectiles multiple times. Our gear, I am wearing a Headhunter. I can't really take it off right now because I brick all of my stats because it has just a bunch of strength and dexterity on it. But if I wasn't wearing the Headhunter, the total like cost of all of our gear would be under 10 divines, which for clearing T15 maps isn't terrible. This isn't definitely not like a budget setup because I do have some nice things. But on our bow, we're just looking for some fizz damage, some crit chance, and plus level of attack skills. I also opted to grab one with some dex, so to help me with some like stat requirements. On my ring, we've got some rarity, some resistances, some life, and some added cold. On our helmet, I'm gonna trade this out pretty soon. I'm gonna really look for some extra crit chance on our helmet and as much energy shield as possible. On my amulet, we've just got some resistances, +1 level of projectile skills, some crit, and some lightning. Our other rings got some life, some mana, some resistances. Our boots are some low evasion boots. These were like, I think we bought these for like 30 exalts, which I was very surprised by. 30% movement speed. We've got some rarity. We've got some resistances. We've got some life regen. The Sin Echoes, I'm not sure if I'm going to keep these on or not. These are very, very cool for the build. I don't know if they're technically necessary. We use these on our werewolf build. Basically allows us to get freeze things much faster, and then enemies that are immobilized by us take 20% more damage. I gotta test if the Mirage Deadeye benefits from this. It should technically, but these are just giving us some little extra quality of life for freezing enemies very quickly, especially on bosses. And then on our Quiver, we're using the Kadiro's Gambit, which is giving us those special arrows. Our body armor is some evasion rating, some max life, some resistances, and some spirit. Oh, and I did pick up a Lavianja Spirits mana flask, which is really, really interesting. This is not something I'm really taking a ton of advantage of because it's going to give us constant mana regen. We're not able to actually click our mana flask, but there's a lot of interesting nodes that I might try to take advantage of. If I don't, I'm probably going to get rid of it. But for example, there's like Stimulants, which gives you 16% increased attack speed during any flask effect. This flask will just constantly be applying to us, so we just get that permanently. There's also this for a potential Anoint. Lavianja's Brew, which gives us 30% increased mana cost efficiency of attacks during any mana flask. That's kind of crazy. If we're having any mana issues, we could like anoint that. But there's a bunch of different like flask effects. There is this one, 10% increased mana recovery rate during any effect, and we get increased mana recovery from our flask. Basically, just a way to kind of help a little bit with our mana. As you can see, when I'm shooting, my mana's coming back pretty quickly, and we've also got those like mana remnants. We're also using our mana as a little bit of a survivability pool, a little bit of a buffer. Our survivability definitely needs some work. I want to get way more ES and way more evasion, but that's kind of where we're at right now. For our skill tree, we've got Mirage Deadeye. This is the main reason I picked Deadeye, because it's new and it looked cool, and it should increase our clear speed and our single target. You could definitely go Amazon for this build. I think Amazon would have a little bit more survivability, but less clear speed. But Deadeye was what I wanted to play. We've also got Endless Munitions for additional projectiles, more damage to close enemies, and we got Tailwind. Tailwind was slightly nerfed. It's still like basically 1 ascendancy point for more movement speed, less damage, more skill speed, and evasion rating. So pretty solid point there. And then inner skill tree, we're mainly just picking up a bunch of like crit chance, crit damage, elemental damage. I've picked a lot of like movement speed nodes because I wanted to be really quick. We've got some like damage from affected by heralds, surpassing arrow chance. Got a bunch of like dazed damage and also crit chance to dazed enemies. Subterfuge Mask, of course, some more blind chance. We've also got a little bit of blind chance here, and then more crit chance against blinded enemies. Some extra projectile speed, movement speed, our juicy crit wheel, Chakra of Thought for a ton of extra attack speed and survivability. And then we pack over to like kind of the monk starting area for Essence of the Mountain, Flow Like Water, Crashing Wave. And once again, I think I'm going to min-max the skill tree quite a bit as we get to play the build more and get some more points to mess around with. But that is what we're looking like right now. Guys, that is going to do it for the video. I hope you enjoyed. Ice Shot Deadeye is looking pretty good. I do think that this is definitely a build archetype that you would want to come into with some currency. In my opinion, Ice Shot at the early stages is just worse than Lightning Arrow, Lightning Rod. That setup will give you more single target and more clear, easier. However, with some investment, not a crazy amount, but with some investment, Ice Shot just becomes a super sick screen clearing ability, and that's what I wanted to show off today. Plan on improving this build quite a bit, as you know, we just kind of started playing on it. But that's going to do it for the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I'll catch you on the next one. Take care. Peace.